During the fifth hearing of the January 6th committee, the panel honed in on two key areas: the Trump pressure campaign at the Justice Department and pardons. Lots and lots of pardons. My panel's back with me. Amara, so let's start with the pardons. Let's start with the lighter side of this news, if you will. What did you make of the fact that you had Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and company apparently desperate for pardons?
I mean, for me, the fact that it was not just one, not just two, but up to 6 members of Congress, not White House staff, not members of the dispersed legal effort that they'd cobbled together across the country, but members of Congress who were asking for pardons, to me, underscores the fact that this was a conspiracy. It underscores that there were a group of people who were looped in on this, that they had a sense of what they were doing, and was mind-blowing the fact that it is members of Congress, people who have sworn to protect the Constitution, people who, because they've run for office, as you know, Michael, who are, we think, at their core, are patriotic, who are at the same time trying to undermine the government that they've sworn to. And the fact that it's an entire group of them is mind-blowing.
So, Caitlin, I want to get your take on that as well, because, do you think we're going to learn more names here? Do you think that there's some others out there who are going to be revealed as also wanting those pardons?
I wouldn't be surprised if we find out more names. But, I mean, what do you ask for a pardon for if you know you didn't do anything wrong in the first place? That's where I would start with all of this. It's pretty clear that they knew that they were doing some shady things behind the scenes here. I think everybody should be thankful that ultimately they didn't succeed, although, certainly them and their very violent supporters on January 6th very much tried to succeed. But yeah, what do you ask for a pardon for if you did nothing wrong?
Yeah, the pardon thing is sort of a dead giveaway. It just is, because it stands out so starkly. So, Representative Kenyatta, I want to turn to the alleged pressure campaign itself that Trump and others levied against the DOJ while they were trying to overturn the 2020 election. What was your reaction to that this past week in hearing precisely how this was laid out?
Yeah, Pennsylvania, we were in the thick of it, and I spent a lot of time on this network and others. I'm the Democratic chair of our subcommittee on campaign finance and elections, and in the state government committee, they were trying all different types of things to effectuate what the president was asking for, and tweeting out. They tried to pass this so-called election integrity committee, which Rachel and others, covered and really blew the lid off of, which would have allowed them to subpoena ballots, impound voting machines, and stop the tabulation of votes here in Pennsylvania, which was a key battleground state and always is. Scott Perry is one of the worst members of Congress. It always, hurts my heart to see, Pennsylvania next to his name. He's a disgrace to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All 6 of them should be arrested in my view. This was clearly a criminal conspiracy. And this criminal cabal must not be allowed to get in the majority in the House. And so I'm one of those folks who do not buy this idea that Democrats will just, of course, lose the House. We must win the House, not only to deal with the very real economic concerns that Americans have and push through big ideas that will deal with those things, but also for the future of this country. We cannot allow these people to be in charge when 2024 comes around.
So, following up on that point, Amara, what does this pressure campaign say to you about the possibility of the country turning power back over to Republicans, and what that may mean, and what do groups, activist citizens out there do leading up to that? Does this narrative help energize folks to recognize exactly what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most interesting things I think that's happened is what I've been hearing from certain Republicans, which is that the fact that these are Republicans testifying against Republicans has swayed, somewhere between 10 and 20% of Republicans to think differently about this episode. And as you know, in a lot of these marginal races where Democrats won and hold power in these seats, you don't actually need that many people to switch in a congressional race for a district to swing one way or another. So I do think that there is going to be an impact from these hearings on the people who are going to show up to vote, particularly in these marginal seats where this could make a difference. And particularly as the roll call of people who supported the president in this grows longer, those Congress people are going to have to answer for this to their own constituents. And so, I agree with Representative Kenyatta. I think conventional wisdom is that the House is God, and if we were in a conventional year, that would be the case. But we're not in a conventional year, and when has conventional wisdom been right politically about anything in the past 4 years? And so I think that this is going to have a different impact than people think. It doesn't have to be that many people for it to switch. We know that national elections here can turn on 100,000 votes.
Well, our panelists will stick around. We're going to have more on that, and I happen to agree with you, Malcolm. Still ahead, where does the national conversation on gun control go from here?